finally, Nigeria's Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Senator Heineken Lokobiri, on Thursday met with Oando Energy Resources team, stressing that the company's acquisition of international oil companies' assets in Nigeria remained a game changer for the oil industry in the country. Speaking when the managing director of the company, Alex Irune, and other members of the management team of the company visited him in Abuja, Lokobiri stated that local oil companies were capable of taking over from IOCs. Are they really? Well, we'll get to that later. But first, I'm joined live from our Abuja studio now by Omono Okonkwo, Head of Operations at the Electricity Hub, to review some of our top stories in more detail. Good morning and welcome to the show, Omono.
Good morning, Rolake. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being here. First question to you, long fuel queues in major cities around Nigeria. Then you lay on that the increase in the pump price. What do you make of this, and how are we going to get out of this situation?
Okay, so quickly, Rolake, I'd like to look at the situation, as far as I know, here in Abuja this morning. Fuel queues are not as long as they were during this week, earlier this week, rather. Some filling stations are open and they're selling, and the queues are disappearing little by little. But then I'd like to speak a little bit about the fact that Nigerians are not even that concerned about the queues. They are worried mostly about the pricing. Like you said, in major cities, the pricing is now over 855 naira per litre. And I'd just like to point out that according to data from the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics, as of July 2024, states like Jigawa and Katsina were already paying between 900 to 950 naira per litre. So you can imagine how much they're paying now, right? So some states are already paying as high as 1,000 to 1,200 per litre. But Nigerians are worried, but then again, they're looking at the Dangote Refinery and they're saying, if Dangote has started to produce, probably the prices will come down. Okay. But according to analysts, they're saying, well, Dangote is a businessman and he has to recoup his investments, which some are in dollars. So Nigerians should manage their expectations and not expect that the price will go beyond or below a certain level.
Yeah, thank you, Omono. Good stuff. So, but let's talk a bit about the Dangote Refinery. It's a major milestone for Nigeria because this is the first time in almost 3 decades we're finally getting local production of petrol from a local refinery. So, you say Dangote is obviously built a commercial piece of infrastructure that has to make back returns from all the investment put in. But assuming we get to that level where it breaks even and it becomes profitable, do we see prices of petrol and fuel coming down across the country? And also, what do you make of NNPCL's role in the refinery is insofar as the supply of crude to the refinery in Naira is, and the offtake of refined products from the refinery? I'd love to get your thoughts.
Okay, so first off, the Dangote Refinery, yes, they are producing Euro 5 spec, which is of premium quality. So as far as pricing goes, I would say again that Nigerians should manage their expectations because, of course, when everything breaks even, the market is free. Right? So the market is fully deregulated according to NNPC and according to the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Heineken Lokobiri. So they say the market is fully deregulated, just like diesel. Now, imagine diesel prices are ranging between 1,400 to 1,500 per litre. Right? And we barely see scarcity. There is stability of supply, which is one thing that Nigerians can expect as Dangote has started to refine petrol. Right. But on another hand, I would say pricing will not be a one-way thing. It can be down today and up tomorrow. So it depends on the market forces. Yes. And the other question you asked, around
NNPCL's role.
Well, the thing is, yes, NNPCL's role. First off, they are currently the only approved group that can take petrol from Dangote Refinery. I don't think that's right. Something needs to happen. Other marketers need to have access to Dangote Refinery so there is no monopolization of the market. That will also help pricing at some point. Right. So right now it is only NNPC that has the right to take to lift petrol from Dangote. And Dangote has said that if nobody is buying from them, I mean petrol, they will start to export like they're already doing with jet fuel and diesel. Right. So at the end of the day, we need to push for marketers to have, other marketers to have access to Dangote Refinery to lift that petrol. Yeah. So at the end of the day, Nigerians can benefit from this.
And indeed, you make a very good point. If we're going to have a fully liberalized market, then surely we should have a multiplicity of off-takers. But speaking of prices, global oil prices have actually fallen in recent times. Can we expect to see that trickle into the Nigerian market and hopefully prices moderate over a period? And secondly, what do you make of OPEC now holding back from further production increases because of fears that oil prices are falling much faster than the cartel had anticipated? Very quickly.
Okay, quickly. So the OPEC decision from OPEC Plus, yes, it's going to either stabilize or increase pump prices. But this would depend on local factors like taxation and subsidies, as we've seen. But then the decision by OPEC was based on weaker demand, like you said, from China and from the US. So there is reduced manufacturing activity based on an economic crunch. And so OPEC is holding back and they're saying, we don't want to produce more. Like Iraq and Kazakhstan, they've been producing a lot more since January this year, but then they've committed to reducing their, to making up for what they've been doing by overproducing oil since January. And then other countries are following Saudi Arabia. They are saying, oh yes, we need to produce less so that oil prices can go up. I know the markets closed on Friday with 71.06 barrels at, $71.06, per barrel. So looking at that rate, it's really low, and then the price needs to come up. And so OPEC Plus is saying we need to limit production so prices can go up and stabilize. Yes, because that's what OPEC is about. They're all about stabilizing the oil market.
Indeed, they need to stabilize the oil market as questions remain about how influential OPEC will really be going into the future. But very quickly, how do you think this decision might impact Nigeria's own production ambitions? And we have just about 1 minute for your response, please, Omono.
Okay, good. Over here, I would say that if prices keep reducing, then we need to make sure that NNPC is not the sole lifter of petrol from Dangote Refinery, because we know that petrol is something, is a commodity that is mostly used by businesses in Nigeria as we have our electricity issues. A lot of businesses are running on petrol generators, so we need to make sure that it is not just NNPC that is lifting petrol from Dangote Refinery.
Thank you very much, Omono Okonkwo, Head of Operations at the Electricity Hub. Thanks for being with us.